Now let's start creating some windows. To do that, let's first create another tag, and let's call this one windows and doors. We'll go ahead and put those on the same layer or tag, and let's go ahead and make that tag active. And now let's move over here to one of our window openings. Now I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and we're going to go ahead and create our own windows, and I'm just going to select one corner to the next, and let's go ahead and use the select tool, double click and right click, and we are going to make this into a group. So now let's also right click one more time and make it a component as well, and we'll go ahead and call this a 3050 window, and we'll go ahead and say create. Now let's go ahead and double click, and let's do some offsets to create some more depth to this window. So we're going to offset 1.5 inches, enter, and then let's draw a line just right down the middle, and then we're going to select that line and right click, divide, and we're going to divide this into 3 pieces. So I'm going to type 3, enter, and you can always see down here the numerical values that we enter. So now we can't really see where those are, right? So what I'm going to do is let's go to styles, and we'll go to our edit, and right here to edge settings, and we're going to change our endpoint values, and we don't need it to be 7, but let's make it 3. And profiles, we don't really need a profile, but the edges are nice to see, so let's go ahead and click out of that, and there we can clearly see where those dots are, even though when I go into my line tool it should snap to those automatically, but it's nice to see them as well. So let's go ahead and click and drag our mouse and just start making some connections. Now I don't want them just to be lines, I want to add some depth to it, so let's use offset again, and let's offset inside 0.5 inches or half an inch, and we're going to repeat that by going over here. We're still in that offset command, and now I'm going to double left click, and then it just repeats that offset value. So just another quick way to quickly create some offsets. Now use this eraser tool, and let's erase these lines in the center that we don't need anymore. And now let's use the push-pull tool to give it some depth. So let's come in 2 inches, and we'll double click to repeat that value, and then let's come in 1.5 inches, and there we've created a nice depth to that. But now I want to make sure it's correct even on the inside, so let's go ahead and to the other side of this, and let's grab this, and I hit control so that I'm not just push pulling, but I'm creating another surface. And let's type 1 inch, and then let's also go to the exterior edge here. Let me see, get a better area, you can see that. And we're going to drag this, make sure you hit that control so that it doesn't stop at that point, and type 4, enter. And then now let's come back, and now let's add a bit of a glass material to this. So to do that, I'm going to go to my tray, let's go to materials, and let's find our glass material, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this translucent glass gray, and we'll just select each one of those panes and select, and we'll just deactivate that group, and there we go. So there we've created our window, and we can also push this in because it would actually be sitting in the window a bit. So let's actually push it in 5 inches, and there it should be flush on the outside here and sitting nicely in that window. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this to everywhere where I had those 5030 windows, which I had them pretty much all throughout this house. So let's use the move command, and we're going to grab an endpoint, and we're dragging, and we're going to hit control so that we make a copy while we drag. And then let's click again, and I'm going to actually drag these over here because I know we have them on our identical model over here. And let's go ahead over to this area. And now what I'm going to do is I need to rotate them. So I'm going to select it, use this rotate tool, and we're going to select an area. Make sure I have it selected. I'm sorry, that's orbit. Rotate over here. And let's go ahead and select the surface. And it doesn't really matter where we select at this point. We just need to make sure we're on that blue axis. And you can tell when it switches, it goes red, green, blue. So we want to make sure we're on the blue. And then we're going to select another point. Again, it doesn't matter where we select because we're going to tell it to move 90 degrees. Enter. And then now we use the move command. We're going to grab an edge, make sure it lines up with that edge, and grab it again, hit Control to make a copy, and there we have our double window. Now let's select both, hold down Shift to select them both, and use the move command. And I'm going to grab a point, doesn't matter where, and I'm going to push them in 5 inches so that they sit nicely inside that brick ledge. Okay, so let's grab this double on that corner because I have another double over here. Hit Control, and we'll grab that, and there we could rotate again 90 degrees. And it should be right on there. Now this wall was not actually drawn at 9 inches. So let's go ahead and just push this one all the way flush. And then we have a couple more windows along the back here. Let's grab these, use the move tool, grab an edge, and we'll place them here. And we're gonna have to rotate these again. So use that rotate tool. Just grab a point. Again, doesn't matter where you grab, just click again, and then we're going to go 90 degrees. Use the move tool to move it right into place. And we'll do the same here. And now I'm just going to grab this one and let's move them over here to place them in these. And make sure I grabbed it in the right spot. And I think we're good. Let's just grab this one and move it over here. And we have this other one. Oops. Let's get out of that. Select this one. And let's make sure we grab a point and we can grab the same one over here. And there we go. So we've added all of our 3.0 5.0 windows, and we have one different window over here. So let's go ahead and create one more window, and we'll just use the rectangle tool, and we're going to double click, make group, double click to activate that group. Let's offset 1.5 inches, and then let's draw some lines just in the center. We'll just make this one 4 lights or 4 panes, and then let's offset 0.5 inches. And double click to repeat that. Let's erase that centerpiece and use the push pull and push it in 2 inches, push in 2 inches, and push in 1.5 inch. And then let's go around the back of it to make sure we do the same. We'll come out 1 inch, click, and then remember to hit Control if it stops on that point. And let's type 4. Then now let's create some glass with our materials. And there we go. Now let's grab it and copy it over to that other one. And there we go. We've inserted all of our windows. Now the cool thing about doing windows as components is if you wanted to change something, you can easily do it by just changing one of them. So let's say I wanted to make them look, these windows look a little more modern by removing some of these window panes. So what I'm going to do are these mullions, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click and use the push pull, and let's remove some of these. And just to give it more of a horizontal look and feel so that it looks a little more modern, we'll just double click to repeat that. and use the eraser tool to delete, and we can delete some of these lines. Let's see if I get to that. There we go. It's not necessary to delete all these lines, but just to kind of make it look a little nicer. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we'll leave it like that, and there you can see it changed it on all of our windows. So now it didn't change it on this one, which we can just change that one ourselves here. Use the eraser tool. Oops. And if you ever mess up, just hit Control Z and it'll undo your commands. Very useful tool. And here you can see I did not create this into a component, so it did not change this one. So let's delete that one, and let's not make the same mistake again. Let's make this into a component, and we'll say kitchen window, and let's go ahead and copy this over. There we go. Okay, so now let's go to insert some doors.